Welcome Trinidad and Tobago to our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Nicola Barito. Let's take a look at the headlines. Stakeholders come together to sign the Charter for Road Safety in Trinidad and Tobago. The Association of Caribbean States meets to foster strength in regional cooperation and integration with a view of creating economic space in the region. And the UTT Chorale in concert brings smiles to the faces of those who attended. Thank you for joining us. It's official. All hands on deck in full support of government's fight towards reducing the carnage on the nation's roads. This as various stakeholders came together to sign the Charter for Road Safety in Trinidad and Tobago. The event was one of a series of meetings held under the umbrella of the Ministry of Transport.
Chairman of the Trinidad and Tobago Beverage Alcohol Alliance, Dr. Patrick Antwine, says while drinking and driving remains a major contributor to road accidents, his organization remains committed to ensuring that this is addressed.
Reducing the number of alcohol-related accidents, I want to be clear, and contrary to some observations that we have heard over time, is a high priority for our industry. The key word for us has and will continue to be prevention, informing drivers of the dangers and encouraging them to change their behavior.
He says the signing of the Charter is a great aspect of the initiative towards drastically reducing the carnage on the nation's roads. He explains that this Charter represents a commitment by all stakeholders, including the Ministry of Transport, to take concrete action, assess results, and further heighten awareness about the need to reduce road fatalities.
Signing the Charter for Road Safety in Trinidad and Tobago as a society represents an advance that we will take together, indeed a momentous step in our journey to, Mrs. Inglefield, zero fatalities on the road. Zero fatalities on the road. This is the single most important objective of the Charter to which we will affix our signatures this morning.
Tourism Development Company's chairman, Rajiv Chandelier, says the initiative is one which will greatly impact the tourism sector.
There's no doubt that safety must be the front burner of tourism. And we can actually use this model as an exemplar towards other models to be adopted in the Greater Caribbean and the wider Caribbean. What is most important in my discussions with Dr. Antwine and Minister Sharma is that the messaging is most important. And as we go through seasons, the TDC will endorse this initiative. And
also speaking at the signing ceremony was Mr. Ronald John, who is suggesting that there be a greater presence of policing on the roads. This, he says, will go a long way in ensuring that road safety practices are enforced.
Police officers need to be more aggressive in terms of policing on our roads to ensure that campaigns like we have started really comes to success. Partially because of what we're doing, but mainly because of the action, the legislation, the work of the police officers on the ground.
Supermarkets Association President Vernon Passard, Chairman of the National Road Safety Council Verna Johnson, and President of the Road Safety Advocate Group Arrive Alive Sharon Inglefield were among those present at the signing. Verna Barath, News 4.
The Association of Caribbean States, ACS, through the Directorate of Disaster Risk Reduction, convened its 20th meeting of the Special Committee of Disaster Risk Reduction at the Hyatt Hotel and Conference Center. The purpose of the meeting was to foster strength and regional cooperation and integration with a view of creating economic space in the region.
The meetings of the Special Committee on Disaster Risk Reduction, DRR, held annually, gathers not only high-level authorities and disaster risk reduction officials from the Association of Caribbean State Members and member state countries, but representatives from regional and international organizations such as UE and International Federation of Red Cross.
It's an especial honor because this is an expression of the partnership between the International Federation and the Association of Caribbean States, and more than just in good intentions, it is one of substantial developments, as we see with these two items that are before you today on your agenda: green response and urban risk. These are two unique initiatives, unique approaches, and they truly show leadership in a global context on a couple of important and pressing issues which impact upon us all.
The main objective of the meeting is to explore and increase ACS's capacity for strategic planning in the entire disaster risk reduction process, thereby raising the quality and capacity in the National Meteorological and Hydrological Services of DRR organizations. On the second day of the meeting, Dr. Stephen Ramroop, Executive Director of the ODPM, made presentations on the Green Response Project.
In August of this year in the Diego Martin region, when the Diego Martin municipality was impacted by heavy rains and landslides. And this is very important because in the rehabilitation and reconstruction phase and the relief phase, the importance of this project, if you look at what is happening with the environmental impact in that Diego Martin region, we will realize that it is extremely important to roll out this project, not just in Trinidad, but some of the other islands.
He says the project provides the governments and peoples of the Caribbean with ecologically effective, environment-friendly tools and process that they can use in response of disasters.
It was stated as an element of sustainability, and environmental impact and sustainable development are very, very closely integrated. And this is, to me, one of the most important aspects of the justification. What we do now will redound to our communities in the region and in Latin America many, 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 many years ahead.
Other projects which will be featured at the meeting are the Urban Risk Project and the Rough Season Project. The meeting will also focus on other regional issues and guidelines for domestic facilitation and regulation of international disaster relief and initial recovery assistance. Joseph Lopez, News 4.
When we come back, the installation of lights at the Madras grounds in Cunupia. Stay with us. Caroni East MP, the Honourable Tim Gopi Singh, switched on the lights at the Tea and Tech ceremony to mark the installation at the Madras grounds in Cunupia. The illumination of the ground is said to be part of a drive to provide electricity to recreation grounds across the country.
Christmas came early for residents of Madras Cunupia as its recreation ground lights came on for the first time. Caroni East MP Dr. Tim Gopi Singh was on hand for the switching on and says lighting the grounds will mean more cricket games at nights, neighborhood get-togethers, and not to mention healthier communities.
Go hand in hand has been the establishment of jogging tracks, and in our constituency of Caroni East, we have had jogging tracks put on Stalactite Recreation Ground, Ragunanan Road Recreation Ground, and Welcome Road. And these jogging tracks now are being used by the constituents, by the citizens, for having the exercise and walking to ensure that the physical fitness remains or gets better, and help in the prevention of the dreaded communicable diseases of diabetes and hypertension, because exercise does help to reduce these communicable diseases.
As General Manager of Tea and Tech Kelvin Ramsuk says, it's part of a drive to illuminate communities across the country, with Madras grounds being the 15th park to be lit this year.
With the illumination of your facility here today, you will come to experience an overall improvement in your lives. More than an aesthetic improvement in your surroundings, it provides an opportunity for building your families, your community, and by extension, your country.
Dr. Gopi Singh says the intention of his constituency office is to encourage inter-community sporting activities through the use of the ground.
I intend to use this as a center because it's a large recreation ground for a massive cricket competition within the constituency of Caroni East, starting in the dry season. And I want to work with other constituencies so we could have inter-constituency types of tournaments. Also for football, the basketball court is on. And there are many other sporting areas where we can use this recreation ground for sports, and then the communities can use for community events.
The illumination of Madras grounds in Cunupia is a fourth ground to be lit in this district. So far, over 150 grounds have been provided with recreational lights since TNTech commenced the community project. Kimberly Ramkalawan, News 4.
The National Energy Skills Center is expanding the training course they provide to meet the growing demand of skilled laborers in the oil and gas sector. The disclosure was made by NSC Chairman Feroz Khan as he addressed graduating students from the Point Lisas campus.
Soon, students pursuing studies in the energy sector will be privy to courses in drilling. This as the National Energy Skills Center, NESC, will embark on establishing a drilling school to meet the demands of trained workers needed for the exploration of oil and gas. Chairman of the NESC, Feroz Khan, says the school will be the third of its kind in the world. He was speaking during the graduation ceremony held for trainees at the Point Lisas campus.
NESC Drilling School is going to be the third such facility in the world. There's one that exists in Alberta in Canada. There's one that exists in Indonesia. And pretty soon, we will want to have one here in Trinidad and Tobago.
He says such a move will continue to place the institution at the global level in providing the needed skills for the evolving industry.
That is the vision that we at the NESC have in becoming not just a local trainer, but a global player. We started that journey last year with the first cohort of Nigerian students who came to study automotive, welding, heavy equipment technician, and construction craft at the NESC. It was the first institution in Trinidad and Tobago that had welcomed our brothers and sisters from across the Atlantic into Trinidad for training.
Proof of this is the training of several Nigerian nationals at the NESC campus, as earlier this year over 57 Nigerians graduated from the school. On hand for the ceremony was Nigerian High Commissioner to Trinidad and Tobago, Musa John Jen, who says a joint commission between both nations will see over 300 students visit these shores for enhanced training.
We see Trinidad as a front-line training country. It's a frontliner because not only of the long years of exposure in terms of the experience over 100 years in oil and gas, but because of the similarities we have and the challenges of a developing economy like Trinidad and Tobago and our own in Nigeria. We are in the process of traveling to Nigeria, hopefully within the next 3 months, by God's grace, to do a joint commission.
The school is expected to expand in the coming months as it looks to introduce an automotive technology center focused on teaching electronics.
At the Woodford Lodge Technology Center, we are going to be establishing a major automotive technology center. As you know, more and more vehicles are being operated on the basis of electronics and not mechanics. And therefore, it is relevant for us to review our training and to upgrade our training so as to be more relevant to the needs of our citizens and the kinds of cars that they drive.
Graduating students were told that their acquired skills will not only affect their lives, but generations ahead. This year, over 500 students leave the campus ready to join the workforce. Kimberly Ramkalawan, News 4.
More news after the break. Stay with us. With 2 games remaining, Wassa FC is in a strong position to capture the Blink B-Mobile National Super League title following the completion of Matchday 20 on Sunday. The Watermen are now 6 points clear of second place. Westside Superstars and Anthony Danuel's crew will have to slip up in a major way to be denied the league championship. Here's Wayne Cunningham with a rundown of the weekend results.
The 2 clubs at the bottom of the points table in the National Super League met on the weekend for Matchday 20. Club Sando were just above Beach United on the standings, and they managed to pull further ahead with a 4-0 win. The ever-dependable Andy London had a brace with goals in the 18th and 64th minutes. His effort was matched by Siobhan Frederick with items in the 63rd and 70th. Real Maracas pulled themselves out of the bottom 4 with a tough win over the defence force in the Valley. Dylan Bartholomew opened the scoring for Maracas in the 22nd minute, and that held until the 72nd. That's when Akil Thomas equalized for the military. Bartholomew struck again in the 87th to give Maracas the win, which took them to 7th spot. Central outfit Eagles United is the other team in the bottom 3. Superior Spurs made sure of that with a 3-0 win. Jesse Edwards, Chris Collins, and Len Mejias were the scorers for the Southern Club, who jumped to 4th, their highest placing since Matchday 2. The mid-table clash between FC Santa Rosa and 1976 FC Phoenix of Tobago went to the team from the East, courtesy a single item from Jason Hope in the 26th minute. The men from the other Tobago team, Stokely Vale FC, were hoping to keep pace with the top 3, while Joe Public were on a mission to catch Wassa. That tense encounter ended in a 1-1 stalemate. Ellis Diet scoring for the Eastern Lions and Dion Thomas for Stokely Vale. That result, coupled with what happened at West Moorings, put Wassa 1 point away from the title. Wassa travelled to the St. Anthony's College ground and defeated Westside Superstars 2-0. Westside were hoping for a win in order to keep the title hopes alive, but goals by the prolific Jahan Hernandez and Glenn Walker dented those hopes. With games against 9th place Defence Force and Beach United, who look set to be relegated back to the Eastern Counties, Wassa FC looks a certainty for the title. Wayne Cunningham, News 4 Sports.
When we come back, the spirit of Christmas at UTT. Welcome back. Patrons were inspired to view the Christmas season a bit differently after having witnessed the University of Trinidad and Tobago, that's UTT, perform last Sunday. It was a UTT chorale in concert at annual Christmas event, which brought smiles to the faces of those who attended. The concert took place at the National Academy for the Performing Arts in Port of Spain.
The Napa Auditorium was packed to capacity. Patrons were in for a treat as the Christmas spirit rang out everywhere. The choir gave a stellar performance under the musical direction of Richard Pear, commending the 60-plus chorale into a Christmas fiesta with traditional songs. The perennially popular Noel Noel was the first carol rendered, followed by other traditional ditties, including Joy to the World, Silent Night, and Angels We Have Heard on High. Apart from the singing, the UTT family was also introduced to the audience.
One of our lecturers, actually, Barbara Constance. Barbara? Jennifer Andrews. Christiana Lemsey. The Melas, Wayne Luptow. Stephen Furlong. And Dylan Peters.
In all, approximately 18 items were performed by the choir, including solos, dances and duets, and trios. The season was further celebrated with a solo ballet, and patrons became so engrossed in the act that they probably forgot their real reason for being there. By the intermission, the performance had received much attention and appreciation of everyone.
Hope we are managing to fill you with Christmas cheer as we usher in this beautiful season of Christmas. It's the greatest time of the year, would you say?
And although all the performances were excellent, the night belonged to the closing act. Patrons gratefully appreciated the opportunity to hear all the wonderful music coming from the UTT Chorale. Joseph Lopez, News 4.
Well, that's how we wrap up this edition of our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Nicola Barreto. Thank you for joining us.